Hello. Hello. What you doing? How you doing? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome. I'm gonna assume it's a welcome. Hi, my name's Hannah, and today I'm gonna tell you a little bit about 5 phases of my life, 5 steps that I have gone through in the past 2 months to really give myself a renewed hope and excitement for life.
Turns out I cannot count. There are 4 steps. There really are 5. I just smushed 1 and 2 together on accident. So, yeah.
I know that sounds dramatic, but looking back now, honestly, yeah, I was like without direction, lost, hopeless, lazy, just had settled for less, being less. And this is all about a glow up. I think a glow up is all about living your best life, right? That's what we want to do. And you're not going to be able to live your best life without being your best self. This video might be a long one, but I promise I have some helpful tips for you if it sounds like you're kind of in the same spot where I was. So about 2 months ago, I started making little changes in my everyday life to make my dreams my future reality. In the beginning, I did not believe in myself. But in the beginning, you just have to keep your chin up, keep going, ignore all the insecure thoughts and everything telling you that this isn't going to happen. You're not going to be able to do this. Tell them to shut up, okay, because they're wrong. And slowly you're going to build up little small wins, small successes, and that is what will build your confidence, and you'll start to realize I can do this. And just a quick intercession. First of all, sorry if this gets cheesy, but it's going to be. That's what this is. But I do want to say, seriously, if I can make a change in my life with the debilitating insecurities that I've had, you can too. Believe in yourself. You can do anything with time and effort. Baby steps. So, it's been 2 months, which is not very long. I understand that. I do not want to come off as if I'm saying, I've made it. Here I am. I've glowed up. I'm saying I'm on the way, that I can definitely tell that this is the best I've felt and the most consistent that I've been. So, where am I now, 2 months in? Finally, I actually feel like it's true. I could make my dreams a reality. I can get to the point where I'll have enough money to furnish my home the way I want to. Now I'm finally starting to believe that I am powerful, I am capable, I am worthy, and I can succeed. We all can. Could you hear every little clap? Those are claps for me and you. Yay. Step 1 is the just do it phase. This phase is just that. Just do it. You're not going to enjoy this phase a lot. Let's get into why. Have you ever heard of a come to Jesus meeting? No? Maybe it's a Southern thing. Basically, it's a very difficult to hear conversation that has powerful, positive effects. You need to have one of these with yourself. Yeah, you can also include your partner. That's how mine was. And it was impromptu. To sum it up quickly, this past fall and winter, I wanted to build a business and do all these projects and just live my best life, And I wasn't doing that at all. I was being lazy. I just wasn't doing anything all day. I was wasting time on my phone, yada yada. Eventually, I'm chatting with my husband about how, all right, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And in a very nice way, he kind of lets me know, like, you've been all talk and no action. I had to really listen. And at first, I literally said, like, this conversation's over. I can't do this, because I was in this happy place, motivated. And he was pointing out, like, I've seen you here before. You've been motivated and excited for something new before, but nothing has been done. That's when it really hit home. And I realized, like, wow, I'm not just disappointing myself. I'm disappointing my partner, my husband, my life partner, my teammate. And it's like my life's goal that my and my husband's life and relationship is extraordinary, incredible, like above average. And you don't get incredible results with below average effort. So, of course, after this conversation, I'm crying, I'm sad, and I'm just so embarrassed and ashamed. That negative feeling, that awful feeling in my body and my spirit, that's what drove me to finally get real and start. So, try to have your own version of this conversation with yourself, with someone else who can kind of be an accountability partner. It might help at this point to make a list of the bad habits that you want to get rid of. Now you've had your intervention. What do you do? What do you actually do? So, the first thing that I did was get rid of the temptation to go back to my bad habits. And for me, that temptation was Pinterest, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I deleted those off my phone that night after my husband and I had that conversation. I was crying. I had wanted to do this for so long. I had even said, like, oh, it would help so much to just not have Wi-Fi, because I just did not exert control over myself to stay focused and stay off these apps and do what I need to do every day. I'm not saying these websites are bad. I still get on them on my tablet, on my laptop, at my fingertips 24/7. Doesn't work for me. Before, when I had wanted to delete them but just couldn't do it, I honestly was feeling like I'd miss out on something. And then everything changed after that conversation, and it clicked that, like, no ma'am, this is making you miss out on your future. This instantly helped so much. First of all, it just freed up a ton of my time. I didn't even know what to do with it. So at this time, I would suggest you start reading some good material on your new journey. For me, I chose a tough love kind of book on constructive living, which I'm surprised I've not heard more about this. I couldn't really find a definition online. Again, it's not super popular. So how I would define it is it's living life realistically. It's not letting your thoughts, emotions, feelings dictate your actions. All that matters is what you literally do, not what you think, not what you feel. So the book I started reading on constructive living was Thirsty Swimming in the Lake. Let's read the blurb. Feelings don't change reality, only action does. For people who suffer from doubts, fear, procrastination, and other neuroses, most of us are plagued by needless problems, from not getting up in time in the morning to fear of finding a mate or a new job to being virtually paralyzed by emotions. So yeah, it's hella tough love. The author pretty much says, like, you don't need to talk about your feelings, just do better. I'm not saying I agree with this completely. I don't think it's super realistic for some people, but for me at that time, this was perfect. It's a great starting point. It is not a stopping point. I don't like the bad, insecure feelings and thoughts, and so I do want them to go away, but it kind of naturally does lessen those insecure thoughts because you gain small wins. You just do it and you get your whole to-do list done, you clean the house, and you have small successes, and that leads to you feeling more confident and not having those insecure thoughts as much. I just want to say, I don't necessarily recommend this book. The author has another book called Constructive Living that I bet reads a lot more like a self-help book. This reads more like a bunch of essays. It's really not that fun of a read, but it's worth it. So let's go over some favorite lessons and quotes from this book so that you understand why I read it. Ooh, this one's good. When a cup is already full, you cannot pour more into it. Too many of the people I see these days want a constant trickle into their cups to make sure it stays right to the brim. They don't want to empty those cups of their familiar, though tepid, contents. Dang. We expect to be high on life and just enjoying ourselves and entertained 100% of the time. Or maybe not you, but I certainly did. But you have to give to get, you need to pour out some of those fluids from your cup to make room for new fluids. It's not important that your cup is always full if it's getting moldy in there, because it's been in there so long and it's nasty. We are what we do rather than what we think, fantasize, or otherwise inwardly experience about ourselves. We are truly ourselves only when we act. Act is fact. Kind of contradicts what we're going to learn later, but at this stage it works. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's advice or a way of thinking that helps at certain times, and it's like both things can be true. Know your purpose, accept reality, including your feelings, and do what needs doing. Do what needs to be done. Accept your feelings and just keep going. And honestly, it is kind of like a burden is lifted. Like, oh yeah, I don't have to tend to you. Crazy feelings and emotions saying that I'm not good enough or I'm not happy today or whatever. You'll be in my head, but I'm going to be present here and just wash the dishes. Make that phone call I need to make. Okay, so this is kind of the controversial part. His thoughts on therapy. Costly and time-consuming analysis of the sources of our disorders is rather interesting. It provides reasons, read excuses, for our problems. Most of these reasons lie outside of our control. How reassuring to know the origins of our limits are someone else's errors. Dang. Okay. So the very last part really gets me. How reassuring to know the origins of our limits are someone else's errors. I am not going to let it be that way in my life. I decide my limits. It reminds me of that other quote, fight for your limitations and you get to keep them. Because to be honest, very few of us are truly limited. Physical limits, intellectual and emotional limits. And if you're one of the many people who don't have limits like that, you're super blessed. And we should take that privilege and live our very best life. Most of us are honestly just limited by our beliefs about ourselves. I'm not gonna lie to you, this was not a happy time in my life. This phase 1, it's not fun. It was all tough love, taking responsibility, and just doing what's got to be done. Like, for instance, deleting those apps honestly left me feeling empty because I was empty. You know, I poured something out of my cup to make room for something else. I had a lot of time to think about my life and my choices. And how I really know this wasn't a good time is while I was planning this video, I searched my journal for quotes from that book and no journal entries from like the night my husband and I had that conversation until well into phase 2. I think one of the reasons I didn't journal is some people say you're supposed to share your goals. For me, apparently, I'm not one of those people because it tricks my brain into thinking that I've already achieved them and I feel great and then I do nothing. So I didn't want to share these goals even in my journal. Another reason I did not journal during this time is that sometimes journaling is nice, but if I know that everything I'm about to write is negative and I feel down, it's not going to help me. Like, for me, journaling is something I do to leave me feeling better. It's not just a place for me to vent. I prefer to go in with a problem, think through it on paper, and come out with a solution or at least a better understanding, or maybe I even pray about it. But during the months leading up to this, I had not been praying much. Coincidence? Probably not. And so I was quite out of practice. Didn't have a lot of hope or faith, and so really no reason to journal. All this to say, again, phase 1 might not be fun. Okay, it's probably not going to be fun, but it is okay. And it is necessary. A Bible verse I like a lot, a quote, is consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. Quick side note, I'm not going to preach to you, okay? Do you, boo. I think the Bible is full of wisdom, that verse being a really great example. Perseverance will make you mature and complete, lacking nothing. If that's not a glow up, I don't know what is. I mean, that's all the way glown up, right? mature, complete, lacking nothing. That's what I want to be. At this time, my only motivation was my disappointment in my prior behavior. It wasn't rooted in my belief that I could actually make it happen. It was the feeling that I had to make it happen. Now, I am not telling you that it is essential that you feel guilt. It is essential that you take responsibility for your own actions and your own life. And if guilt is a natural consequence of that, then let it in, feel it, okay, accept it, and move on. Do what needs to be done. You guys, we've made it to step 2. Yay! So step 2 is where you get good feelings again. Step 2, begin to dream again. So with some newfound zest for life and confidence, because you've earned up some small wins and you got done your little to-do lists, you can start to see clearly again. You know, this is when I finally could see, like, okay, what do I want my life to be like? How do I want to spend my free time? You can make a list of good habits that you want to implement. You do you, but personally, this is how it worked out for me. In phase 1, I really could only make a list of bad habits I wanted to get rid of. I could not yet, please don't step on everything, make a list of good habits I wanted to implement, because I had done that before at times of desperation like that, and you just wind up making this ridiculous, unrealistic list that you want to, you know, spend an hour learning a language, an hour reading, an hour doing yoga, an hour running. Like, you don't have enough time in the day to do this list you make when you're in that bad place, because when you're in that place, you kind of panic, you want perfection, and you don't really know what it even looks like to live a happy, good life. And you don't realize that, number 1, perfection doesn't exist, and number 2, you cannot do all that stuff in one day, and it's not necessary. Like, you will be happy just getting a few of those things done every day and doing a mixture, you know, balance. Another little side note, forget where I heard this, some advice on goals and goals versus intentions. An intention, I guess, is kind of like a goal without an end. Instead of setting a goal to run a marathon, set a goal or an intention to be a runner. Because, like, once you run the race, now what? You know, this is not like a diet for your lifestyle, right? It's not some 30-day fasting, except with habits. This is your new life. I want a goal without an end. You know, I want a lifestyle change, so I want to be a runner. I want to be a yogi. At the beginning of step 2, I started reading The 3 Simple Steps by Trevor Blake. I had never heard of or seen this book before, but y'all, you gotta go get it. It should be in pretty much every library in the US. This is a great book. I love this book. It is so much more hopeful and happy than the last book we just talked about. So much more entertaining too. He's a great writer. He has a hell of a story, and then he's got self-help tips. Isn't that nice? Yeah, what I like about this book, it is relatable. It is sensible, tangible. This guy, Trevor Blake, the author, literally grew up dirt poor with a lot of like racism, bullying, and stuff like that. I mean, he had a hard life, a hard childhood, and now he lives his dream life. He's had multiple companies. He's been able to sell one. He does awesome stuff with his companies. He's got a great wife who's super supportive and amazing, and they have a great relationship, and they have dream homes, and they're just living their best lives. And this is how they did it. What are the 3 simple steps? Now, first of all, you need to go read this book, because I feel like that's how it's going to really resonate best, but I will wrap them up quickly here. Step 1, master your mentality. Now, this one we're going to talk about the longest because it's the most important. It's the most difficult. Master your mentality. This is like my main focus this year. Basically, it's get your mind right. It's all about changing your perspective and developing a strong resolve. Only putting out positive and only taking in positive. Let's talk about the only putting out positive. Adopting a positive outlook. Number one, everybody says it, have an attitude of gratitude. Write 3 things you're grateful for every day and night. Set an alarm twice a day that just says show gratitude, and wherever you are, stop. And if you're with someone, maybe express gratitude to them. Express it to the universe, God, whoever, yourself. Just look around and show some gratitude in that moment. Always be looking for something to appreciate throughout the day. Also, realize the power of words and therefore thoughts. Most concise way of explaining this whole step, master your mentality, is before what you want, not against what you don't want. Meaning, the more you think about not wanting something, the more you are against it and reinforce it in your life. The more you think about how you're in debt and you hate being in debt, then the more it becomes reinforced in your life. Instead, think about how much you'll love the feeling of not being in debt, owning a home, or retiring early, or whatever. Notice I said how much you will love that, not how much you would. You're speaking and thinking as if it's going to happen, because it will. And just examples of changes to make in your thoughts and your words. Avoid saying, I'm feeling depressed, or I feel down today. So if I say, I'm feeling down today, when I say down, it literally makes me feel down. Like, you have images that pop up with every word and thought, and they affect your physiological being, and it just reinforces that feeling. If instead you basically deny that feeling and say, yes, I feel amazing, and force a smile, you begin to feel that way. So instead of saying, I feel tired, say, I could use more energy. When I say I feel tired, I think of me tired, and it just makes you feel more tired. But if I say, I could use more energy, you're saying the words more energy, and you feel more energetic. Like, whether you believe this or not, it can only help, right? But dang it, I keep looking at the microphone like it's a camera. Another one. Instead of saying, I hate it when this happens, say, I prefer it when this happens. My cat was scratching at the door the other week, annoying the mess out of me. And instead of saying, I hate it when you do that, I said, I prefer it when you sleep quietly on the couch, because it gives me that image of that thing that I prefer. And so even though my cat is still scratching at the door being annoying, in my head, I'm looking at my cat sleeping quietly on the couch, and I like that. I prefer it. Don't say I can't. Say when I can. Don't say I can't afford that and I can't go to this place. Say when I can afford that, I'm going to buy all these things. When I can go to this place, I'm going to go to this restaurant, eat all this good food. On top of the I can't, the words hopefully, maybe, one day. Those are all essentially I can't. I want to, but I can't. Also, try to begin and end your day positively. In the morning, say, this is going to be a great day, and I know it's going to be brilliantly successful for me. Like, be ridiculous with your adjectives. Just, this is going to be really amazing, wonderful, fantastic. Just pile them on, okay? And in the nighttime, before you go to bed, say, wow, thank you, self, for such a wonderful day. I'm so proud of you. You did amazing. This, I think, is where daily affirmations and like mantras kind of come in, and how they work. Even like reparenting yourself. I haven't read a lot about that, so maybe I'm wrong, but I think part of that is basically saying things or doing things for yourself that you wanted your parents to do. So you can do that here. Say what you want to hear from someone else. You're beautiful. You're so hardworking. You're so disciplined. I'm so proud of you, and you are just destined for such great success. Say those things to yourself. It's the same to your brain as if someone else said it. Finally, the kind of second part to this step 1 of mastering your mentality is putting on a mental shield. It's not absorbing any negativity from the outside world. In the book, he mentions his mental shield as like a glass bell-shaped dome made in the heavens, and it comes down. It's made of like the highest energy, and it goes over top him, and no negativity can reach him. Mean words just bounce off of the shield and go into a jumble of meaningless letters. I tried the bell thing, and I know this is crazy, but this is how powerful your mind is, okay? I couldn't breathe. Now, I'm sure I could breathe, but it didn't feel like I could breathe because I had a giant glass bell over me. I also felt like I couldn't hear things outside. It just felt very stifling and lonely in there. So instead, I opted for a disco ball that I walk into, and all the little mirrors deflect things. I still like to imagine the words exploding into a firework of letters. I think that's fun. Deflect, deflect, deflect. And I'm just grooving and having a good time in my little disco ball, you know? Also, with the positivity on the inside, but kind of like a mental shield for your insides, I started this little purple flame technique. Imagine a little flame at your belly button, a little yellow one, and you're breathing in, and that oxygen is feeding the flame, and it grows and grows, and eventually it's covering your entire body. Now at this point you're breathing and you're still feeding that flame, and it turns green and then blue and then purple. Yay. And at this point it's like it's easier for me to imagine any negative thoughts or feelings that come up inside me to just like disintegrate into ashes, because I got my purple flame going, and it just like cancels them out and says like, well, you literally can't exist here. I'm a purple flame and I'm in a disco ball. Okay, finally, step 2 of the 3 simple steps is take quiet time. So meditation has already been proven to help a ton of stuff. Go look up studies, I don't know, but it definitely helps your brain, okay? And if it helps your brain, it helps you perform at your peak levels, at your best. And to live your best life, you got to do your best, right? In the book, his goal is like 20 minutes a day of sitting in stillness. I like to use a guided meditation still, and I'll link some below that I like. If you're too busy to take this time, you just do what you can, 5 minutes, whatever. But I will say, and he points out too, the author, that these days that you're busy, your schedule's full of probably important work stuff, this is kind of when it's most important for you to take this quiet time and get into stillness and perform at your best. And step 3 of the 3 simple of the 3 simple steps. Step 3 of the 3 simple steps. Not so simple to say, except it is. What's wrong with me? Is visualize or, daydream, write your intentions. And this is kind of where the manifestation comes into play. Daydream about your future. Sit back and just dream big. If money wasn't a thing, what would I want to do with my life? What would I want to be doing? Let yourself dream. Have fun with it, and even think about dreaming bigger than what you actually desire. Do be specific. This is hard for me. I'm so indecisive. Don't be discouraged during this dreaming process. You are capable. You are worthy. You are powerful. You can do it. Every day, daydream about your ideal future, your future reality, not what you want, but what will be, right? That's how you have to think about it. In the morning, I like to imagine what my life will be like in our future home, when we're in our dream home. And I imagine waking up, and I go step by step. I, kiss Devin on the cheek, and I imagine myself swinging my feet over the bed, slipping my slippers on, probably using my phone to turn off my little sconce next to my wall, because I've already got it decorated in my head. I close the little bed curtains, because we're going to have bed curtains. And I shimmy over to the bathroom. It's nice and warm because we have a heater that turns on at like 4 a.m. Imagine mundane tasks. I've imagined myself doing the laundry there, making myself a nice coffee, doing yoga, cleaning. Also, Really helps to visualize your present day. Look at your to-do list and imagine that day going just perfectly. You know, you're accomplishing your goals, you're getting your to-do list done, you got a great attitude the whole day, you feel good, you're happy, you eat healthy foods. This is especially helpful if there are parts of your day that you usually dread. For example, when I get up in the morning, usually the animals all wake up at the same time too, and they all want to be fed immediately. They don't care that I need coffee. I often would dread that process. I would, tell them, no, I'll feed you at 6 a.m. It's 5:30, you're fine. Then they just cry, and it's just not a fun time. Instead of putting it off, I just imagine in my head waking up with a lot of energy and joy and patience. And I walk downstairs and I imagine myself opening up that closet and being happy to see the animals. They're not in the closet, that's where the food is. Anyways, being happy to see my animals just as happy as they are to see me in that closet full of food. And I scoop the food and I grab their bowls and I just imagine myself being patient and enjoying the process of something that I typically find dreadful. And it works. I get down there, I have energy, I do it, it's over in like 2 minutes. It's really not a big deal. I grab my coffee and I'm happy. Instead of just saying like, no, in the morning I'm tired and I'm grumpy. No, tell yourself in the morning I'm energetic and I'm happy and I'm patient and I'm just happy to be alive, and we'll get my coffee when we get the coffee. Once you've dreamt of your future, write it down. This is where I made a vision board. I will link below the video I followed. Remember to think of what you want in the future, what your future will be like, and the feeling that you will have when you attain those things. That's really the important part, because honestly, as humans, that's what we want. Write down all those things you want. Write down the overall feeling that you'll have when you attain those things, and find pictures that go with it. Honestly, my vision board is really messy compared to many others. I've seen ones that only have like 6 pictures, and mine is like madness collage, and I'm fine with that. The more specific, the better. And so I found specific items that I want and furniture, and I found a lot of pictures of homes that are like, oh my gosh, that's literally the home I want. Another exercise you can do is write a letter from your future self to your then past self for all the hard work they did to get you to future self. Does that make sense? Like, I wrote a letter, dear past Hannah, from future Hannah. Thank you so much for saving money, so that now I can count millions. I literally put that in there. Thank you for pinching pennies when you had to, so that now I am counting millions, baby. Yes, manifest. And now write a list of your intentions. This kind of went right along with making that vision board for me. It was like a days-long process and super worth it. Some examples of intentions would be like, my husband and I are best friends for life, and we have a blissful marriage. We support each other. We ground each other. I am fit, healthy, slim, toned. My hair is voluminous and plentiful and healthy. My skin is clear and glowing and youthful. I look and feel like a supermodel. I earn $300,000 a year. I can afford anything I want. I shop at Aritzia and Chanel. My home is decorated exactly to my liking. Everything we own has its place, and it meets our needs exceedingly well. And then at this point, you're supposed to write your list daily. Now, mine is so detailed and long. I don't know if I did it right, but it's like a page or 2 long, and that's hard to write every day, but I do what I can. Writing your list every day really is helpful because it will center you on your goals and your intentions. Step 4, get organized. Personally, this is just really helpful for me. I think it just helps you stay on your A game. Keep a to-do list. My to-do list is semi-time block, but I just divide it into like early morning, mid-morning, afternoon, evening. I even put my like AM, PM quiet time routines on there so I can remember to do them. I like to make my to-do list the night before. It helps me sleep better. That way, when I go to bed that night, I can visualize tomorrow. Another step in organizing, track what's important to you. I wanted to be healthier, start exercising, and eat mindfully. And so I've been tracking my food and exercise. I'm not like calorie counting. The important thing is that I actually think before I eat something instead of just like, yes, Cheeto. Organize your home. It doesn't take nearly as much work as you think it does. Just for any dreadful task, set a timer. Set even a 15-minute, a 5-minute if you have to timer, and you can focus on what you're doing. Honestly, by the time the timer goes off, usually you're finally in the zone. You've done the hard part, which is starting a task, and you're kind of just going to keep on naturally doing it till it's done. Pick out your outfit for the next day, leave it out. Pick out your workout clothes, do the same thing. If you know you hate waking up, getting out of bed, being cold, then keep a hoodie, socks, pants by your bed, or better yet, in the sheets, so they're nice and warm in the morning, and you throw them on, and now you don't have to be so unhappy. Like, just prepare yourself for future self. Do things for future self. That is basically the gist of this whole thing. Another organizational thing to me is keeping a sleep schedule. I think they've already scientifically proven sleeping on the same schedule is just good for you. Get adequate sleep every day and wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, kind of. And finally, step 5, what's it gonna be? Live and forgive. Yes, that was live and forgive. Every day is not going to be perfect. Surprise. Life happens. Your best is not the same day to day or even hour to hour. My emotions are nuts, girl. You're not a machine. Doesn't matter. Just do your best in every moment. You want to go to bed proud of yourself. If you could have done better, don't wallow in the guilt and shame. Go to bed and have a great day tomorrow. When it's hard to be positive, like in step 2, find a meditation for positivity, or like do something that you know makes you happy. And when it comes down to it, if you just can't get it together that day, can't get into a positive mindset, remember that tomorrow is a new day. Don't fret and obsess over all of this. Also, refer back to all these steps whenever it seems fit. Just the other day, all these crazy insecure feelings came back to me so strong, like I was in freaking step 1. So I finally went back to step 1 after hours of just trying to force a happy mood. I remembered, oh yeah, wait, I can just say, okay, so I don't feel great today. We're moving on. And then just remember, again, life happens. Sometimes your friends are going to want to hang out late and you're going to want to go and do that. That's great. Sometimes something's going to happen and you're going to need to drop everything and do something for someone or yourself, and that's fine. This is life. Again, this is not a 30-day fasting for your habits and your lifestyle. This is your new life. Welcome. Life is still here. Guys, that is all I have for you. Just remember, I believe in you. You can do it. You are absolutely capable of creating the life that you cannot stop thinking about. I really like that quote. It's on my vision board. I will leave good stuff links below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you have an incredible, successful, amazing, wonderful, fabulous, brilliant day. I can't just give you kisses all the time. These are for my husband. Take back. Hey, thanks. Thanks for being here. And therefore you can reach goals, right? You can do stuff, and stuff leads to dreams. Yay. Okay. This is getting out of hand. Hello? Oh, he did.